a long-term protocol that invites all the participants to deposit their economic value in the form of Ether, but it's not excluded that the concept, the brand, gets reused in other blockchain during the bull market, right? I mean, there's no reason not to use where the demand, I'm focusing a lot on demand, where the people are, right? The more you have bridges and steps, the worse it becomes. So the idea is for the participant to drop their money into a pool, and have that pool basically reflect the value of the economic energy stored over time to them. So in a sense, it's kind of virtual staking. You're not locked in at any point in time. You're liquid on your ULTI.
It's 24 hours, right? It comes out once you.
Yeah, you wait. It's just to reduce both arbitrage and MEV. We have this kind of little delay there. If not for the limitation of blockchain, I would have wished when you deposit your Ether, you get the ULTI straight back. It's one transaction, it would have been pure. But after discussing with a couple of editors, we came to the conclusion that adding a little, 1 day delay makes the entire system more safe, because I don't want any leak, because everybody's participating and dropping their Ethereum into a large pool, minimizing any potential for anyone leaking out value from that pool is really critical to avoid people just to occur like lunch. So that's most of what I'm discussing with auditors. Like, hey, how do we mitigate any value extraction in the short term to make sure that people that believe in that visions get the value reflected back to them over time? So that's in a nutshell what ULTI is. Like, everybody, let's drop Ether into a pool, and let's make it the largest whale we can ever imagine in the entire Ethereum ecosystem. Let's go wild, right? For me, success means a million of Ether into the pool is success. Anything below that, I'll say, okay, that didn't work. That's what I'm aiming at, the million of Ether into the pool within a couple of years, right? So, guys, this is speculation. That's what I'm designing for, and doesn't guarantee that this will happen, right? Maybe we're gonna end up with 20K in the pool, and I will explain why it's okay. Even in that worst case, things are okay. So that's a concept. You get a lot of ETH there, and you get the value reflected back to you, because ULTI protocol is buying back the token over time. Why? 97% of the ETH that you deposited in the pool goes into buying back the token, and 3% of the ETH goes into being paired with a liquidity pool on Uniswap V3. And basically, the token is being bought back from the pump pool to the smaller liquidity pool. And that ratio, 97 to 3%, it's what slowly buys back the price, right? So the beauty of that system is it's really permissionless, immutable. The liquidity pool position is owned by the contract that has renounced ownership at launch. And it auto scales. There's no, we need more liquidity, or the founder hasn't provided any liquidity. All participants at their level, they're all building the long-term pool, which is a kind of a long-term liquidity, and the short-term liquidity, which is the trading pool, that is going to be growing with the transfer of value from the pump pool. That's the way I think I've got a flow diagrams that really explain that really nicely. Think about two sides of liquidity: long-term liquidity, most of it, and short-term liquidity. That all reserve basically gets to be spent over time back to you. So that's the bare bone concept of ULTI. Very simple, 2 pools.
Fascinating that you thought about the long-term part of the game in liquidity providing and buying back and burn. Everyone thinks about short-term, which is fine. That helps. That does help some price appreciation. But like, what's going to happen a year down the road, 2 years down the road? How can you sustain? And the fact that you have built this like self-sustained liquidity providing, buying back the token, then providing some liquidity with that, using those fees to buy. I saw that there's like a buy and burn out of the fees.
True.
I was like,
because the liquidity pool, 3% of the economic value is used to build up, scaling up automatically the liquidity, right? There's no issue about. There's not enough liquidity, I cannot get out. It's going to be built automatically by all market participants. We all agree, say, hey, this is the right level ratio between the pump pool and the shop. That's why if it was too equal, you would not get too much price appreciation. So you need a bit of speculation on top of that. That's why the ratio is set this way. But the beauty is that canonical liquidity pool, it scales with all the deposits. So let's say the first months of the protocol being active, 1,000 Ether comes in, right? Well, 3% of that, 30 ETH, paired with the equivalent in ULTI, will be added to the liquidity pool.
Right.
Now, the first year, there's 10,000 ETH being dropped in total. Well, you know that the liquidity pool then will have 300 ETH paired with the equivalent in ULTI. We're talking millions of dollars of value in liquidity, auto-scaled by in collective agreement that, yeah, we want long-term value being stored in a large pool.
Yes.
And slowly buying back the price. The cherry on top is that liquidity pool is a Uniswap V3 position, full range at 1%. And it is expected because depositors that want to play the game build up the liquidity automatically. That liquidity position become the canonical position for the entire protocol, where there's the most volume. The fees, it's a 1% fee position. The fees generated by the protocol because of the pump pool buying back the token, so trading it up, or people selling or buying, speculating on the price. That economic activity is revenue, net revenue for the protocol. The ETH
out of the 1%
generated will be sent back to the pump pool on a monthly basis, and the ULTI will be of the fee part of the fees that consist of ULTI. It will be burned forever. So, in high volume environments, it is expected that the entire protocol could become deflationary, right?
Right.
Because the revenue basically is compensating for whatever inflation or bonuses that are being paid by the protocol.
Wild tokenomics, man.
Yes.
Breaks the brain almost.
This is just the beginning, the foundational layers, these two pools and that revenue being reinjected. We don't want to leak any economic energy, so it gets reinjected automatically. Yeah.
So we really broke down how the protocol stays self-sustained, and there's long-term, a vision for that self-sustainment, and I love that. What about the token itself? Besides buying and selling, or minting, right? Minting through the contract with my Ethereum, I get my ULTI the next day. Now that ULTI itself, besides I can sell it on market, obviously, or hodl it, which is what a lot of people will do. Is there any use case for the token itself?
Well, right now, not specifically, but the idea is just to store your value. Basically, if you add a bit of ETH, or any token for that matter, store a bit of value that can appreciate over time versus ETH. That's the premise. Basically, let's say you're early enough, like you're part of the first few thousands of depositors, and you were the first one to taking the risk and that build that common pool. Whatever ETH that comes after you makes that pump pool, that liquidity pool, so much bigger that the impact of the buyback and burn increases. So whoever comes after you kind of like let the value of the large pool reflect back the value to you faster, right? So
man, you want
like any assets. Yeah, and so I thought about to myself, it's like, how do you get a lot of people being interested in dropping that concept in a nutshell? Could work by itself. Like you say, well, there's a bit of economic energy with the trading and speculation feeds the pool. That should be enough. But again, my key remark earlier was around demand. How do you get masses excited about dropping some ETH, foregoing short-term value? You need to give them, something. You need to give them something in the short term. And so I came up and said, okay, let's just have a few bonuses, not too many. I had like a list of 8. I had to cut down, right? Simplicity is key in design. And I said, okay, what is going to be the most impactful? Referral bonuses, especially in crypto, works really well. We had it for Staker. Unfortunately, we were a bit bad in the implementation of it. Hex, the first year I had referral system. I even asked Rich, I said, why you didn't keep it on? I was making a bug with my referral there, so I was like, that works. That system has been proven not only crypto, in a traditional world.
Yep.
You have plethora of businesses that are using referral.
We pay affiliates all the time in our community and our business.
Of course, that works well. I added a few innovation around it. We can discuss it later. That's one I've I started with. That was my first kind of like, that's the bare minimum. I want attention, I want adoption, I want demand. Right? So let's focus on demand. That's the first thing that I came up with. But then I thought that was already done in the past, so I could add a bit of innovation around it. But I need something more sticky, right?
Yeah.
Something that most content creators would want to speak about, right? What people love to speak about is drama, tension, competition. One came in and just pushed someone else, and you have these whales and people. You look at most tweets related to large accounts in crypto accounts moving their money. It will be talked about for days, and is it gonna be a lot of retweet likes? This big account did that. He moved the money there. He bridged over. So I was like, let's create a situation where you get all the whales or larger accounts. It doesn't need to be whales. It could be compete against one another for 33 days, and they get incentivized to compete. Meaning, the participants that are depositing the most ether or onboarding the most people into ULTI get to be ranked against one another, and the top 33 get additional privilege, like bonuses, and also
buy and burn.
Most symbolic action or right to pump the project, the price. So obviously they're just clicking one function, and then the smart contract itself is then utilizing the ETH stored in the contract to buy back the price of the token. But you got that privilege as top 33 contributors every 33 days, so it's one cycle. I didn't want to have like people having evergreen power over the smart contract. I'm a very big fan of randomness and rotation, Athenian democracy. So having every cycle another cohort of 33 contributors that needs again to compete just to get to that status, to me was important, right? And I think that's a spin. We know that there's a lot of buy and back projects that have been created out there. Having that little spin of competition just to get that pump pool going, it's very, very fascinating. A last piece on the top contributor bonus is you can make a fair assumption that people that have the most to be there, you need to be the most vested, either with your capitals or because you referred a lot of people, right?
Right.
And it's kind of interesting that let's have this kind of like group of elites or guardians, like some people like to call it, top contributors. They get a bit of extra power, right? It feels good, right? People with a lot of money also love power. It's like, it feels good to say, well, I got to choose how fast or how much the collective pool of everybody is get utilized. Oh, we're on the bear market. Oh, we're in the bull market. Oh, everybody's buying the token on the market, on the DEX. Why should I waste the collective money of the pump pool because I'm the largest contributor of it?
Right.
Let's the market speculate on the price now, and then when the price goes down, we sustain the price. So that's an assumption. I cannot guarantee that it will happen, but that's kind of the things I put in place just to really nudge people to behave in a very sustainable way for the entire ecosystem. Again, we don't want the ETH value to be leaked in a poor way. So even though it's not encoded into the smart contract, the UI, we'll have a hall of shame or hall of fame. It's going to be both ways for the top contributors that pump the price while we're already in the mania, assuming that we will be. But because it means that you misuse you bought the green candle with the pump pool, you didn't use the community fund the right way. The UI itself, before pressing the pump button, will display you a warning, say, hey, you're using the pump pool while going to be a couple of signals, trading signals, while the RSI is at all-time high. Are you sure that you want to misuse the community funds?
Interesting. It's educating you.
You get, I'm educating everybody. I mean, people that have money doesn't mean that they do the right choices. Sometimes, they may be lucky.
Dude, I see it all the time.
Yeah.
I see big money making some big mistakes all the time on chain. You see it.
You see it.
Yeah, you do see it.
So use your opportunity for learning. First, again, the first bonus referral, the second one, the top contributor with.
And the referral, I'll stop there real quick because I thought it was
Go ahead.
fascinating how you design that, because most referral links give like the influencer or the guy referring like extra tokens. Like, here, you go buy through this referral link, I get extra tokens. Where you build it in a way that, say, so I got my referral, it's going to be ultiriches.com. That's what I'm going to use, you know, and you guys, if you guys want 33% more ulti, if I'm not mistaken, that's how it works. But I
the first cycle, it goes down over time.
Oh, yeah, it goes down every 33 days.
Yes.
But I also, and you might have to explain this to me, I also have to put money in to capitalize on that said referral. Otherwise, if I don't put money in, I don't get anything. If I'm understanding it right. And how does that break down? Let's say I put in for easy math 10K, because 10's an easy number. 10K on day one, we launched. People are using my referral. And then on the second month, I put in 5K. Like, how does that adjust? Or the second 33 days, how does that referral adjust? And I feel like it's one of the fairest systems I've seen as far as referral links. So yeah, break that down just a tad bit.
Yes. So again, I did not went out there and just tried to copy things that existed. I said that I would not launch if it was already existing. What's the point? You know, I would better invest into it if it was so good. I said, okay, what can we do better across multiple dimensions? For the referral system specifically, I wanted it to have some sort of alignment, ethical alignment with the people referring and the person being referred. Too often, it doesn't only apply to crypto, but we see it across the product influencing space. Is people who say, "Oh, I'm using this beauty cream or this, VPN." Yep. You don't know if the people are using the product, right?
Right.
But with crypto, we can know on chain if people are using the product that they are referring. Yeah. So I created something so cool and innovative, and I'm really proud of this one. I call it skin in the game bonus or cap, meaning that you can only touch the referral bonuses if at the minimum you invested in a project. And I've been loose with some of the ranges, but basically for your example of 10K, you drop in 10K in the protocol, you have a little counter that goes against your account and say, well, we know that Corey just provided 10K, so he's allowed to shield it, right? He's allowed to shield and make money out of the referrals. You allowed to shield up to 10 times in terms of referrals that would come to you. You can make up to 10 times whatever you put in. If the next month or every follow-up, and it's forever. So if the next month you add another 5K, now your cap is 10 times 15. So you can make up per claim period. You said per claim period, you can make up to 150K in referrals. So it still gives you a lot of leeway, because once you claim, there's 99 days, so about a bit more than 3 months to claim your referral bonuses. Once you claim them, you reset the buffer, and now you have another batch. So in three months and a half, you have another batch of 150K that you can fill up with referral. But if you're a large influencer, the reason I put that out there, any large influencer out there having 100K, 500K, millions of followers, if they were to refer, they cannot drain a huge amount of referrals out of the system without contributing.
Right.
Significantly. Otherwise, they leave money on the table because they will hit the cap, and all the extra bonuses, they won't be paid. You know, you reach the cap and you just get, they will have to wait like the next claiming cycle to refresh their buffer.
It's the fairest referral system I've ever heard of.
It took a bit of time just to get to the right model. I'm still debating if that 10x is it good enough? Is that too much? You never know ahead of time, but because it's like it comes back, it gets reset every 3 months and a half. So is that too aggressive or not good enough? But I love just the idea of like, you won't have a large influencer of ULTI making like millions in referrals if they're not into the ecosystem.
And then they're just extracting value because they're not putting any value in. And we've seen that over and over and over again in the space. And so that's why I love the innovation. And yes, guys, I do have a referral link. It's ultiriches.com. When it goes live, it will be linked to the referral link. Yeah, I can't believe I scored Ulti Riches. I went on to GoDaddy, and I was like, holy crap, look at that. It's available. Let's go. So, but it'll be good to go when it's live. Let's talk about that. You're going live in 20 days. Is there audits all done? Like, how's that looking? Is it pending still?
So ULTI team is just me. All right. It's a passion project. I've been in crypto for 10 years, actively building into crypto past 4 years. I would not be able to sleep knowing that my parents, my brother, my sister, my girlfriend, all of my mates from my hometown are into the protocol and it crashes. Right?
Yeah.
Not to mention the people I don't know. If I just only even care about the people I know. So what I said in the post last week is my timeline is security. This is my timeline. We've seen too many times protocol going to market too fast because they want to go before Thanksgiving or Christmas or the bull market, and then you figure out that maybe the way the gas cost of that function hasn't been reviewed well enough. It could have been done better. And I don't do that. I already spent $100,000 in 5 audits, and I just did a couple of modifications recently this week to the protocol, and I'm gonna add the layers of 2 or 3 audits. So I'm auditing more than anyone else because I want it to be perfect. The ambition is to get millions of Ether into the pool. I'm not going for 10K participant. It's an adoption mechanism because I know people love green candles. So if you give them sustainable green candle, they're always backed up by a big pool. We're golden, right? So I just need to make sure all these different incentive and parameters are well calibrated. But as soon as we hit a critical, mass, I don't know if it's 10K in the pool or 50K in the pool, but after a certain point, right? It's easy to the size of the pool itself is the marketing. This is gonna be you can easily say if it works, for the first few cycles, it's easy to pitch. Say, well, that is about to become the largest well in the world. Easy to market. So I like to get to that point. I don't know how fast we can get there. I'm trying to do my best just to have it very clean. That's why being pure DeFi is part of the strategy. It's like nearly nobody does that. So it's an easy win for me. I don't have any control or privileges over the protocol. So there's no things that can come back to bite me, down the line, saying, "Oh, but there is this Genesis address, or you cannot activate this or deactivate." That I don't want to even have to discuss such things.
Yeah.
So I'm putting from the brand, from the security. Across all dimensions, I'm trying to elevate the standard of what's being done there because if we're successful with that project, it means that a lot of Ether, this is the end game, most of the Ether in circulation in the world gets stored for a fair amount of time in that pool and slowly buying back the price of ULTI. That means that the value of ULTI versus Ether goes up. That means that Ether becomes more rare on the market, putting its price versus dollar up, right? So you compound that over it. That's the end game. That's where I'd like to go, and that means that we would have for multiple quarters green candle after green candle after green candle. Why? Because the pump pool is kind of bear market resistant. It doesn't mean that the price is not gonna go down or like any other tokens. If there is mania, you can expect a retracement.
Sure.
But knowing that you have a pump pool that is just very gradually purchasing back the value of the token, and the rate is fairly conservative. 32% of the pool is utilized on the yearly basis, so it's not going to be depleted over time because every next cycle that comes in, you basically, if the growth of deposit outpace on the yearly basis outpace the utilization, well, you absorb all of the ETH. And I did a lot of modelization just to calibrate things so that we reach a sweet spot. I don't know if we're gonna get there. So the first few cycles are very important. But because my ambition is so large, once it's out there, the rocket is out there, I want it to be pristine.
I love it. I love it. What will happen? So you kind of talked about like on one end of the spectrum, if it's successful, we get a lot of ETH in the pool and it's just, going good, right? What happens if we don't see a lot of ETH getting in the pool? Like you talked about that it's okay. And you explain a little about that. How does the system self-sustain with a little amount of ETH in there versus, we know if it's the largest well on Ethereum, that's beautiful. But if it's,
so the beauty, I thought I was using a first iteration of it. It was maybe a few months ago. I was using Uniswap V2, and I was not really happy with that worst case scenario. But with Uniswap V3, there's a way where all participants, the downside, the worst case scenario is they get a certain percentage of their value. It could be 80%, 90% of the ETH back. So you never heard about any investment where you kind of guarantee a fair amount of the value you put in.
Sure.
Back to you. How do you go about it? Let me just paint the scenario. Let's say we see a bit of slowdown, or we hear that there's a global ban on crypto, and people want to get their value back, right? So the way you would go about it, for whatever reason, people just don't trust enough of the protocol, or I build something even better down the line, and I invite people to say, hey, let's play on this new ground and get this economy value. It'll be rewarded over there. Yeah. So the way because we're using Uniswap V3, and Uniswap V3 lets you put single-sided liquidity position. Imagine that all participants, whether you're alone, 10 people or 1,000 people, let's assume everybody is putting a position based on the ULTI they have just above the price at the same ticker. It means that on average, everybody gets paid prorated to what the ULTIs they provided.
If the price goes in
right above the price, it will kind of create a wall, an infinity wall, that the pump pool will buy into for many years, and you get that value back. Everybody gets that value back to 80%. So there's no downside. I don't want to say that publicly.
That's wild.
The downside limitation I designed it to protect investors. It's a long-term protocol because we all storing Ether in the pool.
In there.
If something were to go wrong in terms of like over market sentiment with regard to the protocol, everybody can behave the same way, and we can collectively signal this is the play. Please, everybody, put your wall at the same level, and slowly the pump pool, because anyway, slowly you don't even need to rush for it.
Right.
The pump pool will buy into that wall and reflect the Ether back to everybody prorated of the ULTs they had at some point.
That's crazy.
You never heard that anywhere else, I think, any economics. Yeah.
I'm not. That is brand new. A lot of these concepts are brand new for me, though. But I've only been in crypto for since 2019. So this is very a lot. I got introduced into crypto through the Phantom ecosystem. So I did a lot of DeFi over there, and then I got introduced obviously to the Richard Hart stuff, and then I came in there. And so I'm not a crypto veteran in my opinion yet, but we're getting there. This is a good question. What is the rate of minting ULTI from ETH, and does it change? So if I go in there and I put 1 Ethereum in,
yes,
how much ULTI do I receive back?
Yeah,
and
so
how does that adjust?
One way to think about it is the primary way. Yeah, there's two ways to acquire ULTI. Either you deposit, and the day after, the smart contract will give you some ULTI for what you deposited. How does that determination, that rate is being calculated, is based on TWAP. It stands for time-weighted average price.
Average price, yeah.
So because the contract knows about a canonical pool, which has liquidity thick enough, it can just read that pool as an oracle for the price and do a determination of like, oh, this is the market rate there. Let's give them a good deal. So we're tracking with some averages, the spot price, but we give you extra bonuses. So any point in time, if you want to acquire ULTI, it's fair to say that you're likely to get more by depositing versus purchasing on the market. Because what happens when you purchase on the market? Yes, maybe you don't wait that extra day, you don't get it right away, you get it on the spot. The issue, though, is you may occur slippage depending on your position. especially if you have for the larger position, you definitely should just be depositing. And you're giving some ETH to the liquidity pool, which is an exit opportunity for people that already have a ULTI, right? If another large person had a lot of ULTI and could not cash out because the pool was not thick enough, well, if someone else just buy on the spot, basically you just give earlier optionality on selling your ULTI for Ether. So these two reasons, is not advised to buy ULTI on the market. The pump pool should do the buying. Basically, in the perfect world, if all participants were rational and they were not seeing ULTI going up on deck screeners, but going to the website, reading the white paper before doing anything, they would not buy on the market. They would do the pump pool doing the buying for them.
Exactly. And I recommend that everyone do go over there and read the white paper, because it's so there's so much going on, right? And it's the only way you're going to start wrapping your head around it. And I'll even just drop the direct link to that. It's ulti.org in the chat.
I shared the light paper as well recently, so I think it's highlighted on the. Let me see. Yeah, let's highlight the white paper.
Yeah,
it's on the. You can see that on the 0x ULTI on x.com. The pin post is a light paper, which is like 1-2 minutes reads that just flesh out the concept. If you want to deep dive, there is much more in the white paper, which is more like a 20 minutes reads that you may need to read 2-3 times. That's been the feedback. It's like, wow, you went deeper than any other white paper, and you shared all the alpha that you thought how the game could be played with everybody. So yeah, I mean, that's the goal. I want mass adoption, so there's no hidden corner where this is the way that I know about it and nobody thought about it. I'm just trying to lay it out there for everybody just to enjoy, right? The only thing I don't know about is when people are going to deposit, which bonuses they're going to focus on. That's going to be the gamified aspect of it.
Fun part.
Who's going to want to be top contributor the first cycle versus the third cycle? Maybe there's an opportunity on the second one because people went too heavy the first cycle. We've seen that in a couple of protocols. People just rush.
I'm planning on breaking my liquidity up, making sure I DCA over time, just because I have made that mistake going too heavy in the early days. I think I've made that mistake on everything I've invested in, but
let's call it learning, not mistake. We call it learning.
Yeah, it's learning, right? That's always what we always talk about on the show. Is like every mistake we always make. It's just we have to own accountability and take a step back and go, okay, what went wrong there, and how can I learn from that so I don't do it again in the future? That's called growth, and that's how you turn your losses into wins. And so, yeah, excellent. I read in the white paper. And maybe you can kind of confirm it because it's in the white paper. Towards the end, there might be staking down the road. Is that something that's
so?
It alluded to it. It didn't tell. It didn't say it was. It didn't spell it out. But I was like, that's the way I read it. I was like, oh, is there staking?
No. So there is. Staking is very interesting one because we know for a fact you look at all the different protocols and which are the ones that have some staking or time locking. I guess it's different flavor of staking. Some people call it staking just the fact of like just depositing some value and then you can take it back whenever you want. Some people consider that maybe liquidity providing, if you're like full range, is something stable. It's kind of like staking. Get some yield out of like depositing some value. So these words get, since investment, the question is like how much yield you get or how much risk exposure you get. Time locking is a very special one because this hardest thing to do in finance is waiting for value to come back to you. So ULTI itself, I call it, I think it's an innovation per se, is virtual staking because the collective of participants that decided to drop their ETH into the pool, they need to wait for the value to come back. They can exit at any time, but it's like, they just leave more opportunity for the people that stays to extract some of the values they should have gotten. So in terms of staking, the way I designed ULTI is like, well, I know for sure, that was the beginning of my the discussion, I know for sure that the product itself can only be as perfect as the amount of work I put into it today, right? So I built it for leaving room to build on top of it. It's been a model that works really well for a couple of contracts. I think the audience here is aware that Hex made it easy for people to build on top of, derivative product. What we've seen even more aggressively is in the Titan X ecosystem right now. There is 20, 30, soon to be 40 protocols being built actively because it's an ecosystem that is encouraging people to build on top of, that are rewarding financially. There's 8% dividend for people building on top of the protocol that they can keep entirely or just feed back to the protocol. I was like, yeah, well, I got the referral system. It's not only for the influencer content creators or you to share with your friends or your colleagues. Any builder can say, well, I'm building something on top of it, and the contract I'm building is using the contract address or any user address as kind of a referral because I'm driving value. People that would otherwise not engage with ULTI are not coming to the protocol. So the contract, regardless of the source, is paying people to drop some ETH into the protocol. So yes, at the end of the white paper, you have a series of ideas that are time to flesh out because I'm thinking about it very holistically, that long-term vision. Well, there's different ways people like to enjoy crypto. Could be coming in form of memes, NFT, staking. And it was a question of someone 2 weeks ago that mentioned, hey, I don't trust myself with liquid ULTI. Yeah, I like your idea of virtual staking, but I don't trust myself. I know in the past, I will, as soon as it goes up, if there is a mania, I may sell too early, I will regret. Can you do some staking? I said, well, okay. There's a couple of protocols that let you do some, staking. I think Mati in the community, Mati Alin has like a protocol that lets you just lock some tokens. I don't know if you launched it on Pulsion or you launched it on Ethereum.
Yep.
But I say, okay, short term you could use something like that if you really don't trust you for 2 months. Otherwise, I've got a lot of incentive to promote people that are locking value or adding value to the ULTI system. Because if someone is locking their ULTI, there is a reason for that person to be rewarded. But because I'm not doing it at the ULTI level, I would just giving you an example. I would create an add-on contract, very small footprint. The only purpose of that contract may receive or not some ULTI. And once the ULTI is there, it's locked. It's again pure DeFi, immutable contract. Once the ULTI is there, it will be up for grab to anyone doing some staking. Right? The smart contract say, well, you stake your ULTI with me, you get a kickback at the end of your. And the public statement I've made so far is ULTI.org by itself. I'm about to register the foundation, the ULTI Foundation in Paris. Like anyone, is a third-party platform that may get some referrals by getting people into the space. But again, the privileges. ULTI.God cannot get more in ULTI value than what the ULTI account, right, the referral ULTI account, would have deposited in ETH into the pool itself.
Correct.
So that's the first piece, really important. Yeah, there's no additional value there. So there's no incentive even for the UI to invite people to use ULTI.org address because it will hit the cap, and not only the referrer doesn't get the bonuses, the person being referred doesn't get the bonus. So it's not good for reputation, right? If you onboard people, make sure that you manage your cap correctly, because you may have the people you. That's why skin in the game is value alignment is so important. It's like you need to communicate, guys. If you just say, hey, there's an opportunity for you to have a kickback of 11% if you're using my link. Yeah, you need to maintain that relationship with the people you onboard, and at some point say, hey, sorry guys, I'm no longer doing referrals or maintaining my cap. Maybe, I invite you just to move your fund towards another account and use that.
Right.
All of that to say that ULTI.org may collect some ULTI as referral bonuses. The foundation itself will have for public mission to promote the ULTI ecosystem forever. And the idea is we're using 100% of these funds to drop into this add-on contract and promote good behavior. So the end of the white paper is highlighting the best pumper, the best takers, maybe the best builder of the month. Right? It's going to be a bunch of a contract that just absorb a bit of ULTI being deposited by the foundation or any kind soul or donors out there. And it's going to be up to people engaging with this protocol to say, well, oh, let's not touch it at the beginning. I will only engage with ULTI staking add-on contract when I actually see some ULTI being deposited there, right? The carrot is being deposited.
Right.
So it will likely happen. I don't know which of these add-on contracts I will start with. It will depend on demand and what I think is the most. I mean, it's an open debate. If some people feel that there is something that needs to be built, they can build it themselves.
Absolutely.
Right?
I'm not
and
sorry.
For me, I've seen that in the Titanx ecosystem.
Yeah.
What works really well
build on ULTI.
Yeah, I mean, BOU or just the idea is like if I see a protocol that is building on top of ULTI and using the referral link to reinvest back value into the ecosystem, by encouraging some locking, some burning, some education, there's no reason why even the ULTI.org itself would not have the list of like all the different protocols, how much ULTIs they are locked, how much ULTIs they burned.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, the idea is like to encourage an ecosystem of not only me, of builders to come on top and add value to the ecosystem. I've seen it happen in Titanx ecosystem. Genius design and thought of Jake, the founder of Titanx. And you need to be able to recognize what people are doing well, regardless of you like them or not. It's like, hey, this is a great idea.
Agreed.
I want to be successful with my project. So let's improve upon what has been built before and pick the best ideas.
I love it, man. Unfortunately, I got a hard stop. I got to get to my next meeting, but man, we do appreciate you coming on. How about, I know you're probably busy as hell. Would you be willing to come back on maybe in the show around launch time or after launch? I'm sure you're going to be busy, but we'd love to have you on to check in like on the success with it, what's going on. I would love to hear some like data analytics on it as the ETH is growing in the pool. Of course, I'm sure you'll have a dashboard and everywhere we can go check that stuff out, but I think it'll be a good time to have you on around that time period. But let me know. I know you're busy as heck, but I appreciate you, dude, coming on, 0x Steph. Also appreciate your bottom calls. Your bottom call on X was fucking perfect, dude. I was like, boom. I couldn't believe
that.
I
got, I think, 700 or 800 likes on that one because people know that I do a lot of calls on Ethereum and throughout the year, Ethereum and Bitcoin. And I think my win rate is about 90%. So well above anyone you'll see out there. So generally when I say something, you got 9 out of, based on historical record, 9 chances out of 10 that it happens.
Yep. I love it, man. Well, cool, bro. Appreciate it again. Unfortunately, I got to wind it down. And guys, there's 149 of you guys watching. Make sure to hit the likes and come over and smash the subscribe button. I see a lot of you guys on Twitter. Come help boost the algorithm through the stratosphere. We can keep bringing the good word of crypto. And 0x Steph, man, keep up the good work. We love the builders around here.
I'll be back.
Yep, he'll be back. Let's do it, man. Peace, guys.
ULTIriches.com.
ULTIriches.com. That's going to be the referral, 33% more back to you. Love it.